Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Green Book, starring Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali, and Linda Cardellini, and directed by Peter Farrelly. Now, I did see this before in theaters. I just didn't go to the theaters this time to see it because I have it on digital download. Yes. And I watched it twice for this review, so let's see if it's good. Let's get into it. In New York City in 1962, we meet Tony Lip, played by Viggo Mortensen from this trilogy, who's an Italian working on the last shift for now at a club, and we come back to his wife, Dolores, played by Linda Cardellini, at the Bronx in New York. I really love these two as characters and as husband and wife with his two kids, and Tony has an arc as a black person-hating man, I'm guessing, by throwing away 2 cups they drink out of 2 workers to a black person loving man by the end of the movie, and working for one and becoming good friends with him, and that was a great arc for Tony by the end of the day. Dr. Don Shirley, played by Mahershala Ali, is the African American I brought up just a few seconds ago. And he took the Oscar home 2 years ago for this movie. And I have a feeling he'll take it home again this year. And I reviewed him before in this movie not too long ago. And he's a musician that needs a driver to take him from concert to concert in the South for 2 months. And he's playing a very powerful and believable character, and I love him in this movie. Tony gets hired by Dr. Shirley to drive him from place to place for 2 months in the concert Green Book. And their adventure begins, and Tony says goodbye to Dolores and the kids and the family as well. And I'm liking this road trip. It's working for me quite well, and Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali act very well with each other. We arrive in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for the first concert, and Dr. Shirley tells Tony to calm down with the profanity and with his real last name, which is Italian. And I can't even say it very well either, so it's hard to pronounce. Sorry to disappoint to the real guy. But what I do like is the way Mahershala Ali plays the piano. It was phenomenal to watch him play. Tony writes a letter to Dolores, and he'll improve his writing skills throughout the movie because he's not too good a writer for now, but I'll like the improvements later on in the movie. Tony takes a rock, or a stone is what it is, that was for sale without paying for it, and we arrive in Hanover, Indiana, and Tony and the setup have an argument about what kind of piano Dr. Shirley wants to play, and Dr. Shirley has the right piano, and Tony changes his mind and his beliefs on civil rights. And I love that about the movie. It tells everyone to treat everyone as you want to be treated. I love that message. I love the scene with Kentucky Fried Chicken and how Tony and Dr. Shirley throw out the bones out the window, and Tony throws the cup out, and Dr. Shirley asks Tony to pick it up. That was hysterical. While Tony eats pizza like a taco in his hotel room, he gets a call from Dr. Shirley's bandmate saying Dr. Shirley got himself into a fight by a group of people who believe in slavery, and Tony gets him out of it, and he plays his concert the next day, which I really like how Tony gets some sense into him. Next scene, Dr. Shirley sees a bunch of African American slaves in the field, which makes me sad. I don't believe in slavery in general, which thank God, whew, because it's the wrong thing to do in general. Dr. Shirley is asked to leak in the pond, and again, while an immersion at a concert, and it's slavery, and I don't believe in slavery, like I said earlier, and that scene works for the time, but I don't like that scene in general because it's very rude of them. Tony writes a letter to his wife, and Dr. Shirley helps him out writing and saying such beautiful things to his wife on a letter, and that's romantic. That's a romantic thing for that scene, and I'm enjoying and loving that scene. Tony wants to purchase a suit for Dr. Shirley, and the clerk says he's not allowed to wear the suit because he's black is accurate for the time. And I like the fact how Tony leaves look like this place is a disgrace. Dr. Shirley gets in trouble with the cops, and this is happening in today's world too, where the cops are picking on the person who's African American, which doesn't make sense in today's world, but it's accurate. In this movie, Tony rewards the cops, was rather a shame, so he can get Dr. Shirley off the handcuffs. So I think it's sad, but he helps him out anyways. And I like that moment of the movie of a mixture feeling. We arrive in Memphis, Tennessee, when Tony runs into an old employer named Dominic, who asks Tony to work for him, and Dr. Shirley offers Tony the road manager position. And Tony turns Dominic down, as well as Dr. Shirley's road manager position. But it's how they become very good friends, and the chemistry between Tony and Dr. Shirley is beyond wonderful. It's Christmas time, and Tony and Dr. Shirley get pulled over for reasons I can't fully understand. And the cop calls Dr. Shirley the N-word, which I'm not a fan of that word, so please don't make me say it. And Tony punches the cop because he didn't like the way he treated him. So they get arrested, and Dr. Shirley makes a phone call to the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy's brother, Bobby. And I like the miracle, but Dr. Shirley gets pissed off, and Tony says he's blacker than he is, and in his neighborhood is blacker than his. And Dr. Shirley asks Tony to pull over, and that speech that Mahershala Ali gives in that scene should win him the Oscar, because it's a powerful moment in the movie. They arrive in Birmingham, in Alabama, and arrive at the Green Book concert, and Tony arrives at the restaurant, and Tony waits up for Dr. Shirley and at the restaurant, as he's not allowed in the restaurant because of his skin color, and Tony gets Shirley out of the concert without playing the piano, and that was a great revolution for Dr. Shirley and Tony to take on the South, and very convincing too. Dr. Shirley and Tony go to a bar with a bunch of African Americans, and Dr. Shirley plays the piano, and he plays pretty brilliantly. And they're on the way home and get pulled over by a cop because of the flat tire they take care of. And Tony gets them back home. Well, not Tony, but Mahershala. What's his name? Dr. Shirley's driving for the rest of the way back home for Christmas, and Tony invites Dr. Shirley to meet his family and refuses at first. And Tony gets back home to his family. Meanwhile, Dr. Shirley realizes he doesn't have anybody to spend Christmas with, and decides he wants someone to spend Christmas with, and meets Tony, Dolores, and the family. Was a great ending to a true friendship story. It's very good. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 9.0 out of 10. Between this movie and Bohemian Rhapsody, it's a coin toss who will win Best Picture for me, in my opinion. This is a truly great friendship story between a white Italian and an African American that turned out to be a beautiful story. Highest of recommendations for this movie and Bohemian Rhapsody. Check out both, but yeah, seriously, it's a coin toss for me. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and I hope something will be a miracle as far as the Oscars goes between this and Bohemian Rhapsody. And until next time, for the final time for the year, and the Oscar goes to